Hold it right there. Why do you have that? You damn pervert, Edgeworth. Ah, that's the question of the day now, isn't it, Miss One Karma? I'll have you know that this hood was given to someone as a gift that night, before the lights out bell was rung. What? You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had seen the defendant as she claims, the defendant couldn't have been wearing this very hood. Well... I'm sorry. I saw the boxes. That's adorable. Oh, it's not a bad feeling at all, exposing contradictions like this. I might have to take this up as a profession. I'm a much cooler defense attorney than Phoenix, after all. Now I'll understand that happy look on Wright's face every time he does it. Order in the court. Witness. Well, sister. This hood. You have spare ones around the temple, don't you? Spares? Well, I do tend to make too many of them. I see, a stockpile, a surplus of hoods, eh? Each nun is only given one hood. This should be the only hood that Iris owned. And this is quite strange. Well, if there was a surplus of hoods, then she could have worn one of those. There's no contradiction here. I'm sorry to break this to you, Miss One Karma, but you won't get away that easily. Discrepancies such as this will sow seeds in any human's heart. The seeds of doubt. Witness? While I don't wish to call your testimony into doubt, you must give every detail with precision. I'm not sure I'm comfortable going along with this. Sister, you shall continue with your testimony. Tell us what you saw after finishing your bath on your way back to the inner temple. Those seeds of doubt are sprouting in the judge's heart. They just need a little more stimulation to bear fruit. Contradictory stimulation. After my bath. Okay, this is a whole new testimony then. I finished my bath around 11, and I thought I should return to the inner temple. As I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look and... Iris was... Oh, Mystic Elise. And with that sword of all things. Yeah, but that makes no sense then. Like, I remember seeing that picture before. That's how she's saying she saw the crime go, pretty much. But that goes against the whole... do we even have that in the autopsy report, I think? Loss of blood from a stab in the back. Body fell 10 feet after death. Cause of death was loss of blood from a stab in the back, which means she was stabbed and she fell after she died. So she fell after she bled to death, which would take a little bit of time. So she was... so then, yeah, she was stabbed in her room and then thrown out after the body was dead. So she, like, if Bikini saw the body at all, she wouldn't have even seen the body unless it was completely dead, and there was no reason to stab the dead body after that. Mystic Elise was staying in a corner room, which faces onto the courtyard. The stabbing I saw must have been occurred when she was pushed out of her window. Wait, what did she say there? You saw a truly terrible sight, didn't you? If I was in your place, then it would be much like Miss One Karma whipping Mr. Edgeworth in court, and me seeing it all from this very chair. Or, well, something like that. This judge. His imagination is just about as vivid and creative as Detective Gumshoe. I would look like a fool if I commented on such foolishness. Anyway, this case is mine, Miles Edgeworth. Calling everyone by their full name. Can't you do something about that habit of yours? Let's see, finish my bath around 11. Thought I should return, okay. What sort of noise did you hear? That's what I want to know first. You say you heard a noise. Thump, just like that. That could only be the sound of the victim falling. It's very quiet out in the temple, you know? And you can even hear the snow falling from the branches. Thump, just like that. But then, couldn't this noise you heard have been snow falling to the ground? I never thought of that. Wahaha! I'm gonna stop doing the Misha laugh for you. Ho ho, ho ho, ho ho! He's trying to... The next one to laugh gets a whipping. Well, whatever this source of sound, I looked over at the courtyard and... This is the second time the witness has testified to seeing the defendant, but some doubt remains in these claims. Hey, just what does that mean? Just because you're a good-looking young man doesn't give you the right to... The murderer who stabbed the victim with the sword, Sister Bikini, try to recall exactly who it was you saw, as clearly as you can. Well, you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. Oh, now that you mention it, there was something awfully strange about her. Something has been bugging me all this time. Please, don't keep us in suspense. Her HUD. Her HUD? That's right, it's coming back to me. Iris, she wasn't wearing her HUD. I thought something was out of place, but it all makes sense now, doesn't it? After all, she'd given that HUD away to someone, right? Ugh. Huh. You dug your own grave, Miles Edgeworth. Shit. What do you say, Mr. Edgeworth? Is this testimony important? It's not important at all. No. It's not, no. We're good. We're good here. This line of questioning is only going to tear the wound further. Yeah, that is not something I want to be pressing on right now. These statements are as useless as the investigations of a certain detective. There is no need to record them. Also, taking shots at Gumshoe. Very well. Please, continue with your testimony. Huh. Yeah, let's not do that. Okay, that's fine. The stabbing I saw must have occurred okay, that's what she said. The stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window. But the autopsy report says that it happened before she was pushed out of her window. Which I'm gonna go grab the autopsy report now, because that clearly contradicts it right there. Loss of blood. She even bled to death in there, too. In her room. Impressive logic. That's what I like to say, anyway. Oh, please do. My brain is something else, especially in winter. However, I think you are overlooking one thing. Miss Von Karma, would you be so kind as to take another look at the autopsy report? The autopsy report? The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, this fall was after she was killed. That's right. It says after death right here. The scene with the witness claims to have seen is contradictory. The defendant stabbed and killed the victim there in the courtyard, or if the defendant did that, how did the victim then go on to take a 10-foot fall? Oh yeah, I forgot the whole, it's just been a long time since I've seen Von Karma. I'm glad Frenzies is back though. It's nice to see her. Order. The victim was killed and then fell. If that is the case, then the victim must have been killed here in her room, don't you agree? That is the only logical conclusion. Yes, that's right. The victim must have been stabbed by the defendant in her own room. And she was thrown out of her window down into the courtyard below. Were there any signs of a struggle in Miss Dunham's room? She was stabbed with a sword. That would leave a blood stain, wouldn't you agree? Well, Miss Von Karma, was there any blood? No traces of blood were found in the victim's room. Europe has just caused traces of blood to be found on my glorious playoff beard. Honestly, it's not that glorious. It's kind of ugly blonde beard. However, if there was no blood in the room, then your claim that... I'm sure there's no need for me to go over this, as I'm sure your honor is well aware of when a stab wound produces the most blood. When it produces the most blood, very little blood is actually lost at the moment of the blade's insertion. If you want to talk about the most blood, about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed. Indeed. With the weapon still in place, it acts as a lid on the wound. That's true. With the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. A perfectly reasonable line of thinking. Yeah, but she bled to death in the room. We've come to a conclusion then. The victim was thrown out of the window with the sword still in place. This removes all the contradictions. Order, order, order. I must admit that this is a probable version of events. I'd expect no less from Franziska von Karma. She locates and takes control of every vital point. Huh. It seems that we need a clearer testimony from the witness. Remove all supposition on your part and tell us only the truth, please. Witness, please. Remain standing on the crate. Don't go selling me short now. Just slowly rising up. The weight of winter snow has bent me out of shape, especially my back and my mood. Sister, please give us your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage once we are finished here. With the whip? Oh boy. Alright, alright. Further details. When I looked across at the scene, the sword was already in place. Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her stab Mr. Glees. I've never seen so much blood before. That's when I fainted. You can't blame me, can you? And when I awoke, Mr. Gami was stabbing Mr. Glees through the back. This all confirms Miss Von Karma's theory. Von Karma strive for nothing but perfection. Putting together such backs is nothing for me. You should know that, Miles Edgeworth. Perfection is an impossibility, Franziska von Karma, and I'm here to teach you just that. Honestly, you don't even have a perfect record anymore after the second game, so yeah, perfection's gone for you too. When I looked across the scene, the sword was already in place. Okay. Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her stab Miss Glees. And then why did you have the discrepancies? What caused the discrepancies in your memories? Think carefully. This is very important. It's Iris we're talking about here. I'm thinking for all I'm worth. No, when I looked over, the sword was already in Mr. Glees' body. It might not be conclusive, but this testimony supports her theory. The victim was stabbed in her room and then dropped into the courtyard. I think this proves it rather well, Miles Edgeworth. Never seen so much blood before. Does that mean, like, are you trying to say that the sword was pulled out? At some point? Because they were saying, like, they were just talking about the sword plugging up the wound, pretty much. So, where did did the sword get pulled out at one point? So you're saying that you saw the victim's blood. That's right. Some of it had splattered onto Iris, too. When the defendant was arrested, she was meditating in her room, and her blood-flecked clothing was neatly folded in the corner. What? Her clothes were blood-flecked as well. That seems quite conclusive to me. What should I do? Press this point further? The bloody clothes, though? This might not end up good. I don't know. I don't know right now. Let's remember that's there and let's not go too further. I can't afford to make any things look any worse for the defendant. I'll bide my time for now. Witness, please continue your testimony from after you witnessed the victim bleeding. No, can't blame you. Got any more details on that? By Mr. Gami, you're referring to the golden statue, correct? Just stabbing someone with the Shichishito is sacred treasure is terrible enough, but to make Mr. Gami hold the blade... Truly a heinous, despicable crime. It is easy to despise something, anyone can do it. However, there is something that cannot be done so easily. Whatever it is, I'm sure it's doubly hard for you. Anyway, what is the problem? Exactly why would the killer set up the gruesome scene? Can anyone explain the reasoning behind that? No, I don't think I can. There isn't always a logical reason behind why someone acts. That's true. So true. In early spring, for example, I often find myself... There isn't always. The phrase might come in handy someday. Or that phrase might come in handy someday. There are too many unnatural elements in this case. Why was it necessary to use the Shichishito from the Ami statue as a weapon? Why was the weapon finally placed back in the hand of the statue? If I can expose the flaws in this testimony, perhaps then I will begin to find the truth. Okay, it's already back here. Am I gonna have to press harder on that statement then? Maybe I do. Okay, I'll try it, you know, I guess. Let's go through all this. Yeah, let's press further. Going back to your previous statement, you said that you saw a little bleeding when the victim was stabbed, but now you say you saw the victim bleeding? Well, I say that I saw what I saw. What did you see? Maybe I didn't see the poor woman get stabbed, but I saw the girl pull the sword out of her, plain as day. Okay, I knew you were going for the pulling the sword out thing. I called that. Pulling out a sword? Well, it wasn't exactly pulling, it was more like it came out. Witness, you will add this to your this statement to your testimony. Oh, was that important? More important than you can imagine. Oh, you changed the statement a little bit. Okay, I saw the instant in which the blade plunged into this hilt. Into the hilt. Plunged into the hilt was smoothly drawn out. Well, the only thing I can think there is, like, to the hilt. How would that smoothly be drawn out, too? Like, look at that thing. Also, like, with how huge that sword is, plunging it all the way to the hilt? That just creates... That's a lot of problems with that statement right there. Sister Bikini, you are a reliable witness. At least, I'd like to think so. But there are too many contradictions here. What do you mean? You make it sound as though I'm a liar. But, you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. Hey, you're gonna start a fight with Oldbeg if you keep doing that. What contradictions are you talking about? In the scene that the witness claims to have seen, the weapon was thrust up to the hilt in the victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. However, both of these are complete impossibilities. What do you mean? Please, explain yourself. To start with, do you think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? No matter how I look at it, the defendant doesn't appear to be strong enough for that. Also, it's like the sword's a couple feet long. That thing's huge. Doesn't appear to... What meaningless dribble? I too may appear to be weak and frail, but I can crush men under my heel and make them weep, should I so choose. The objection stands. I wept a little back there, I must admit. That isn't the only issue here. If this sword was truly stabbed in the body up to the hilt, well, just look at all the branches on it. It certainly wouldn't come out smoothly. We also have the problem with the amount of bleeding. It's true that when a blade is left in the body, it acts as a plug of sorts. However, when the weapon is shaped like this, it's an entirely different story. Yeah, because the little side things would completely just like, they would just be scratching everything up and all that. Yeah, and it wouldn't even be able to plug it up completely, especially if it was all the way to the hilt. They'll only be too large for the blade to completely stop from bleeding. That's nothing more than conjecture. In reality, the victim was stabbed with the shichishito. Even a weapon of this nature may still sometimes slide out smoothly, and may still sometimes stop the blood loss. I'm not finished. There's still one more conclusive contradiction. You've still got more. This one is simple. If this sword really is thrust in all the way to the hilt, why is there only one blood on the tip of it? That's a good idea! I actually didn't think of that. Holy crap. Thank you, Wedgeworth. Jeez, man. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. Holy crap, I didn't even think of that. If this witness is telling the truth, then there should be blood along the entire length of the sword. Order. Bravo, Miles Edgeworth. Raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All the other attorneys I know could manage maybe manage one, if that. But what does all this mean? You have proven contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but having come this far, there can only be one answer. And that is? The weapon used to kill the victim was not the Shichishito. What? A foolishly foolish idea born from the foolish mind of a foolhardy foolish fool. Oh god, I'm gonna have to say fool a lot now, yeah. Let's examine this again. What was it that made you think this sword was the murder weapon? Well... It was because Mr. Gami was holding it. Exactly. However, if you reflect on this, that is the only basis we have to assume such a thing. The impression left by the scene was just too strong. That is what influenced us. It influenced us to believe that the Shichishito was the murder weapon. Order. So maybe the Shichishito was not the murder weapon,